friends, I am Dr. Kuldeep Mohadikar. In this video, I will present a chapter from my series Literary Pearls. The chapter is entitled as Mystification in Charles Lamb. There are essayists, say Hugh Walker, I quote, like Bacon of massive greatness and others like Thomas Brown, who can attain loftiest height of eloquence, but there is no other who has in equal degree the power to charm, I unquote. And this charm of Lamb's essay arises from the charm of his personality. Lamb is the most autobiographical of English essayists. Lamb is the most charming personality. He has a charming personality. He has the nobility of nature, goodness of heart, goodness of disposition, and capacity for heroic sacrifice. Different aspects of his rich and varied personality are revealed in the essays of Elia. Sympathies of understanding are the result of rare wisdom we can find in essays of Elia and Lamb in Lamb's personality. Everywhere the subject of Lamb's essays is Lamb himself. If Milton is the hero of Paradise Lost, Lamb is the real subject of essays of Elia. Every essay of Elia is a window to the mind and heart of Lamb. In his essays, Lamb takes his readers into confidence and he converses with them about his likes and dislikes, his relations and friends. We can say his memories of the past at different places, his psychological fears and doubts. Thus, in his essays, we get the whole life of Lamb. Though he often tries to control the reality under the cloak fiction, his love of mystification, that is, of confusing the readers and hiding the truth from them, is to be seen at every step. He was born in Inner Temple at the house of his father's employer Samuel Salt and passed his early boyhood there. He writes in following essays about his boyhood and early memories. The essay, The Old Bencher of Inner Temple, is reflected with his memory of its church, its garden, its hall, its rivers, and its streams. In the recollection of Christ Hospital, he speaks proudly about his school. There are many happy touches when he narrates his charming expressions about the or charming excursions, in the countryside. In the second essay on Christ Hospital, 530 years ago, he gives us the humorous side of some of the regulations and traditions of the school. In the guise of Coleridge, he narrates many of the incidents of his school life which differed from those of his friends. Lamb had protection and his friends had those of his friends had not. London, to which he would go on a holiday in winter, the South Sea House, is based upon personal recollections of that period, and in the Superman, he speaks his goodbye to the East India Company. Then he talks about his friends and relations in most of his essays. In the Christ Hospital, 530 years ago, we get penetrating character sketch of Coleridge and other friends. In one essay after another, we get full and living pictures of relations. In the old benches of the Inner Temple, we get sympathetic and detailed pen portraits of his father's patron, Samuel Salt, and of his father himself, spoken and about his sister Mary, the cousin Bridget, in number of essays. In Dream Children, he remembers his brother John Lamb. He remembers him with greatest affection. This love for brother, who had rather selfishly shifted all family responsibility to the much younger Charles Lamb, is expensive of Lamb's own goodness of heart. In the last mentioned essay, we also get sympathetic pen portrait of his grandmother, Mrs. Field. In all these essays, Lamb tries to hide the truth about his relations. And then there is an intimate self we find, or self-revelation. Intimate self-revelation we find. Like in the essay, The Dream Children brings us to a consideration of matter more intimate. It proves the truth of the statement that leader-hearted Lamb was made for the pleasure of the heart and home, but alas, this was not to be the lady of love, and courted to whom he courted did not marry him, and the children that might have been called another betrayed their father. The pathetic wistfulness of the essays comes from the very core of the essay. Its heart so goes directly to the heart of the readers and moves them as nothing else can. The essay is piece of self-revelation difficult to be matched in all literature. Then explanation of Lamb's intimate self. Revelation may be multiplied infinite. He constantly uses example, asserts his opinion, feelings, likes and dislikes in the first person. In short, Lamb's essays are prose lyrics in which he pours out his heart in strains of unpremeditated art. Then his love for mystification. Critic after critic has noted the strong personal note in Lamb's essays and has expressed the view that personal note is real secret of his abiding popularity and perennial freshness. The ease with which he blended fact with fancy is unique in English literature. Oliver Elton writes, I quote, Lamb did not vary his friends with his troubles and reminiscences, but many of them he has confided to the world and to the world itself. Like the poets of the time, he is understand the necessity of making such confidants. I unquote. Hugh Walker is also equally empathetic in his comment. I quote, a character such as this truly self-revealed could not fail to be among the most attractive things in literature, and Lamb is constantly autobiographical is not that it is to take his statements without examination as literary facts. He had turned for mystifications. He delighted in weaving threads of fiction in a web of truth. I unquote. So this was all about from my side, friends, on mystification in Charles Lamb. Thanks, friends.